fish are keying on damselfly nymphs, they look for three different things. They look for movement in the fly, they look for color variation, and lastly they look for eyes. This fly contains all those important elements. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 12 3x long curved nymph hook, some 8/0 olive thread to tie with, some glass bead eyes for the eyes, some light olive marabou for the tail, some olive and brown marabou for the body, some fine copper wire for the ribbing, and some peacock herl for the head. First thing I've done is tie on a good base layer of thread, and now I've taken my glass bead eyes and we're going to tie them in right near the eyelet for the eyes. And make sure you do proper figure eights around the eyes so they tie in nice and square. And leave a little room by the eyelet for the head a little later. The next step to the fly is tying in the tail. And you've noticed we're tying on quite a long hook. So what we want to do is don't go all the way back to the hook bend. You want to go down about 3/4 of the way down the hook. Measure up the tail so it's just a little longer than the hook itself, and tie it in. Again, we want quite a long tail because we want to mimic that action that the damsel gives in the water, a nice wiggling motion. Now that the tail is tied in, we're going to take some fine copper wire and we'll tie it in at the body, and that'll be used for our ribbing once we get the body tied in. The next step is to create the body. How we're going to do this is we're going to pull off some marabou from our brown and our olive marabou stems, and again keep it thin and just back and forth dub onto your thread. So take a little brown, then a little green, and again a little more brown, a little more green, and vary that color because those flies have a real nice color variation to them, and that's what the fish is looking for. Once we have it all dubbed in, we're going to wrap it forward to form the body. Now that the body is tied in, we're going to take our fine copper wire that's been sitting off the back of the hook and form about 3 to 4 ribs up the fly. To finish the fly off and to really give it that color segmentation throughout the fly, we're going to tie in a strand of peacock herl right behind the eyes and keep it fairly small, and then wrap forward and just form a small head on the fly. This is really going to set off the fly. Make sure you get in between the eyes. Do a few figure eights in between the eyes and a few wraps behind them in front, and just build up a nice head on the fly. And to finish the fly off, we're just going to give it a whip finish. And there it is, the finished damselfly. Now, the things that I mentioned earlier on when I did the introduction, the 3 big things the fish are looking for is movement in the fly, color variation, and eyes. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca, and if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.